Hey, 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 hey. Good day, everyone. I'm so happy to be with you again here in our weekly date. This is Developer Aligned, a series of live stream shows made for the contemporary open source Anon contributor. Developer Aligned is made by devs for devs and comes in four flavors: nerding around, which is which is a dive in complex topics; inside Fuel Life, which is our community call where you get all the information regarding the fuel ecosystem; Hack Stories, where we learn how to lose money and how to avoid losing money by hacking and security issues; and today's show, today's flavor, which is Deep Dive, a premium front row seat with the best talent of Fuel Labs team and the Fuel ecosystem projects. And today we have a special show, which is NPM Create Fuels, which is a tool I really love, an amazing tool, and we will have a closer look by the voice of its creator, Dai. But before that, what's coming next? Well, next week we have Hack Stories with our buddy called Delegation. We will be interviewing some guests, learning how to lose money and how to avoid losing money because of security issues. So let's begin. Before jumping into today's show, I have some announcements for you. The first one is, let me share my screen because that will make it easier. The first announcement I have, the first information I have for you today is we have a technical writing bounty. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you have what it takes to write? I mean, technical writing. You know, in depth technical articles that showcase the unique capabilities of the Fuel Network ecosystem. Well, we have a technical writing spotlight bounty for you. Look at that pretty kitten. So beautiful with that beautiful red coat. Accepted and published article will earn you the admiration of your peers and 500 USDC reward. Please check our Developer Champions program for more details. Well, our Fuel Developer Champions program is a way to recognize developer achievement across four levels: pros, veteran, all stars, and legends. So, if you are willing to participate in our technical writing bounty, which is this one, first you have to enroll in this program because not everyone can apply. It's not like open to everyone, but just for the developer champions program. So you go to this repo, which is start here. Then you can submission your application, and after we accept your application, you will be able to apply to our technical writing bounty. We are on the lookout for high quality articles showcasing your work and your exploration of the fuel tech stack. This bounty is open to all current field developer champions. If you are not a developer champion yet, you can start your journey here. Hey there, Alex, by the way. So if you wanna earn $500 and get published on our blog and so on, please come to github.com/fuel champions and enroll into our technical writing bounty. But this is not everything. We have some open positions. Let me show you. There you go. We are looking for DevRel advocate, developer advocate, solutions engineer, and technical full-time technical writer. And we also have open positions for engineering, like engineering manager. Let me put the right link, which is this one. Okay. Engineering manager, senior front-end engineer, senior protocol engineer, and senior TypeScript engineer. This is the link jobs.lever.co/fuel labs. But if you lost this link by any chance, you can go to our landing page, which is fuel.network. Just like that. Fuel.network. That's our landing page. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you will find become a contributor. If you click here all the way in the footer, you will have access to our open job listings. So if you want to work with us, please come here and apply, because we will love to have you on board. I think those are my announcements for today. Technical writing bounty for the Developer Champions program and open positions in the DevRel and engineering team. So now we are ready to jump into today's topic, which is npm create fuels. Oh, there you go. Wait, you can join this team? Sounds too good to be true. This is true. You can join this team and work with people like Dai. This is Dai, the creator of npm create fuels, and it's going on a stage right now. So hi there, Dai. How are you
Hi
doing?
everyone. I'm good, man. Thank you so
Well,
much for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well as well. It's a sunny, shiny day here at my city, and I'm so happy because we have almost 2,000 people online watching this streaming right now. We have a couple of greetings here. Hi
Nice.
there. I'm thrilled because Golden is always with us in every streaming. So thank you so much for joining us each week. We have some greetings from Twitter as well. Hi, somebody lost the H. Well, before jumping into learning like these amazing tools you built, I think might be really cool to have some highlights about you, like who you are, where you come from, what you do for fun,
Sure.
how you got into
Um,
Web3 and so on.
yeah, sure. Well, I'm from Surat, India. I joined Fuel almost 1.5 years ago now. I'm a part of the TypeScript SDK team. Open source has always been a huge part of my career, and I'm glad that's something I get to do at Fuel as a full-time job. Uh, and NPM Create Fuels is one of my favorite projects that I've worked on at Fuel, so I'm so excited to share it with you guys. And I mean, for fun, I love race cars. I like racing them. I like watching the races, and I also like to take a lot of photos. Maybe you can tell by the photo and the poster. I love cameras, so yeah. And I'm also traveling, kind of traveling the world right now, one place at a time. So yeah, that's more or less it.
I just came to your Twitter and found like these amazing views by traveling across the United States. It seems like you have a lot of fun just traveling around the world, building amazing stuff. I remember, like, you don't know this, but I remember a couple weeks ago in our team chat, Dai posting a picture like I'm cutting from a pickup crossing United States. Like, amazing life, by the way.
Yeah,
And you have a
it
lot
was
of
it
green
was
feet as well. What?
No, I was just saying that yeah, it was a very different experience coding from a pickup truck. That's I'm not gonna forget that in a long time.
It seems like this is a fun company. I had to tell, I
Oh
had
yeah,
to say
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So you have a lot of green here, like a lot of commits, like you know
Mhm.
what you are talking about. Like all the year around, looks like you take no holidays whatsoever. So I'm so glad to be able to like have this time, this chat with you, like such an experienced engineer, um, a developer DAO member as well. Like, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh sure. Uh, Developer DAO is probably one of the best Web3 communities I'm a part of. I've met so many friends, so many people that I got to collaborate on with on projects, and people that have been mentors, people that have become friends. I got to meet so many of them in America for the first time. So yeah, it was the bridge for Web3 for me when I first joined this space. I would say it's one of the best communities for you if you are an engineer who wants to learn about this new space. If you come from like a traditional engineering background and you just want to kind of get your feet wet in this new industry, there's a lot of helpful people in that community who will help you out. You'll make new friends, and yeah, it's just fun in general. I also, in fact, I met so many people from Fuel even before I joined Fuel in that community. So yeah, highly recommend joining it.
For me, it seems like almost everyone joining Developer DAO is a true OG of building, and I'm so glad that you are there. And I must say right now that we are over 2,000 people watching us right now. So thank you so much for joining us. As you might see, Dai is a real OG of Web3 building. You have a shit ton of followers, like AK. How you got so many? Like, what's your background? What did you do before, like, just writing code and amazing tools?
I think I got most of them through code because I was posting a lot about the things I was building before Fuel also, when I was working on some open source projects of mine. In fact, in Developer DAO as well. Uh, and yeah, just posting about those projects, posting little demos here and there, and shit posting sometime, but not that often. Most of the followers are from those nice demos and posts about open source.
The people who is watching this didn't know, but you told me that you you used to do some DevRel work as well.
Yeah, I've kind of always had that background of also writing and talking about the things I'm building or learning. I think it has massively boosted my skills as an engineer or my career as an engineer all throughout my career. I don't get to do that often these days because I'm so heads down on building things for Fuel, but I still do it from time to time. I do plan on doing it more in these next few months as we get closer to mainnet. So there's going to be much more things to talk about, including the tool that we are going to talk about today. So yeah, I've kind of always enjoyed doing that, but I prefer writing code full time, honestly.
It's so funny because often is the opposite. Like full-time engineers go into DevRel, but you're like a full-time DevRel and then went into full-time engineer. I must say that you can leave DevRel, but devil can't leave you. So you're still having like this cheerful vibe glowing from you. So I'm so happy that that kind of personality is joining me today, because it's so common for engineers to be maybe a little bit more shy, maybe a little bit more quiet, but you are playful, and I love that. So I don't know. I think it's time to jump into today's topic. What do you think?
Yeah, let's get to it. Let's get straight to it.
Okay. So I'm going to just go to docs.fuel.network, which is our developer documentation. It's dark as well. I know you like darker. And we are going to jump into the developer quick start, which is just right here. So in order to build something with Fuel, you have to install our tool chain, run Fuel up, which manage our tool chain and packages and so on, and then create a folder, go to that folder, initialize a new contract, write that contract, then build that contract, test that contract. So you have to instantiate like some kind of testing harness. Then you have to write that test harness, run the testing, then go for some deploying and so on and so on. Then you have to like initialize um, a front end. So you have to initialize a React project, then jump into like your TypeScript code, install our like front end libraries like the Wallet SDK and the Fuels TAs SDK, um, generate some contract types, build your project using npx, and you can start building. So it's not that much work, let's be honest. It's just a couple comments here and then, but still being many steps. But you build something that was actually showcased here, which is just one step. So basically you can take like the whole developer quick start, like all of these steps involving instantiating different steps of the stack application, installing the actual fuel up tool chain, but you kind of synthesized everything in one comment. Like, how does this work? Like, what's happening here? What happened after running this command? Can you tell us, please?
Sure. Um, should I share my screen now or later on?
Whatever you like. I'm going to step back.
Okay, sure. I think it's easier if I share my screen. Let's see. Cool. Can you see my screen now?
Now we can.
Okay. So, like you mentioned very briefly, that when you want to create a new fuel project, there's a few steps involved. Let's just say that, because we have our own virtual machine, we have our own programming language, which is very cool, by the way. It's definitely worth having all of that tooling, which is some of the best in class. But it's not that easy to get started. It can be a bit tricky to set all of those things up correctly. So with this tool, with basically it's npm create fuels. With this tool, the problem that we wanted to solve was giving people a tool that gives them a full stack project really quickly. It's just like Sandusky mentioned, it's just one command and you will have a full stack project running on your machine. You don't have to install any other dependencies, and it also solves the problem of having some sort of a nice default. officially recommended default configuration for a full stack Vue project. So we mainly wanted to solve these two problems, and that's why we built this CLI tool. Uh, when you run that, I can run that right now, but it's probably not gonna it's gonna take a lot of time to install all of these dependencies and everything. But it's gonna ask you for a project name and all of that. If you have created a Next.js project before, it's basically the same thing. It's gonna ask you for a project's names, and then it's gonna install all the dependencies, and it's gonna give you this. Basically, it's gonna give you a project with this file structure, um, and it's gonna give you two of these commands. Uh, One of them is gonna run the backend, if you will. It's gonna run uh, a fuel node in the background. It's gonna handle the compilation for your Sway contracts, your Sway scripts, predicates, anything that you have, and it's gonna also provide you with a front end, a Next.js server for now, and both of these things, they work nicely together, and we all of this works through this configuration file. You don't sorry, you don't have to touch this, but if you want to make any changes, this is where, this is how it's working. uh, but yeah, that's the core idea of the tool. It's really simple. It just creates a project, but uh, it works. It gives you a full stack fuel project fully locally. I'm gonna run it right now on my
Okay.
machine.
So while it's running, I would like to do some recap. So basically, this is a plug and play tool. You just run a command, and
Yeah.
the CLI starts doing everything behind the scenes, like installing a tool chain, running a local node for testing, and so on.
Mhm.
Boilerplating a front end, boilerplating a smart contract. Um, and you say that everything comes to one configuration file.
Yeah. It's
This configuration file is built in the package, right?
yeah. It's
And
already there. It's
what's it's pulling, like what's Sway programs, what's Sway API?
so basically, Sway Programs is it's a fork workspace. So it has multiple Sway projects inside of it. Sorry. um, as you can see, it has one of one of these projects is called, it's the contract, so I've just named it contract. It also has predicate. It has a script inside of it. So what this configuration file does is, when you specify a path to this workspace, it compiles all of those programs and uh, also keeps watch of those files. So whenever I change one of those files, it processes them, compiles them again, and uh, it's available for us to use. So it's tied to the front end through this field called output. So if it's inside src or slash sway API, now this is where your ABI, your bytecode, and also all the types for your Sway programs are. So it's not just the compilation that's happening, but also we are generating TypeScript types for all of your Sway programs. So you get really nice type completion. I'll just briefly show you what that means. For example, I'm calling this get count function, and it's already telling me that the value is going to be a number. Bn basically stands for a big number. So I know if I don't do this, it's going to throw an error. So this is a nice way to ensure that I don't write something that's wrong in terms of types.
So basically, this tool is creating a new folder with like a scaffold fuel artifacts like contracts and predicates. It's generating TypeScript type definition for these files, and it's building a front end application by using those types. And
Yeah.
anytime you update the contract, it's going like it's a service watching your files, listening for changes. And every time you change something on the contract, for instance, you get a new type generation, an update on the front end. So this is it. Like the front end you are showing to me right now was completely generated by the tool.
Um, well, that's not exactly right. That is something we eventually want to do. We want it to be completely auto-generated, but for now, it's only the types that are auto-generated. The actual front end, it's hard coded right now. It's like I have the code here, but that is something that I want to get to it towards the end of the stream in terms of the features that we have planned. So it is coming up, but just not yet.
Okay, so I'm moving a little bit faster here. Okay, let's go
Yeah.
back to where we were. So you just run a command, right? That's when we start talking about it. But you just ran a command that launched
Yeah.
that launched a field node, which is running somewhere around there. There you
Yeah,
go.
so this is the fuel node, and in fact, if anyone watching the stream right now has the laptop in hand, you can run npm create fuels or pnpm create fuels, uh, or maybe npm create fuels at latest, so to make sure that you are getting the latest version, and you can actually follow along. It's I think it's up live right now. It's the exact same thing that I'm using. This is the fuel node uh, running locally. Uh, we are also going to improve the logging that system that we have. It's a bit hard to see right now, but if you can make out this message, it says that it saved the contract IDs after deploying them in this file, and the process completed successfully. So that's how we know we have all the types we need. And this is
Okay, so
the front end.
it's actually launching Next.js as well.
Yeah, yeah. So a fuel node and a UI, both of those things.
Okay. And how's
You do
my
have
file
to.
see? Oh yeah, go on, please.
Oh, I was just sorry. I was just saying that you do have to run these two commands, so it won't just launch them for you by default, because we want to keep these two things separate, because people might want to see the logs for the UI, that Next.js server, separately from the logs of the node. So that's why we have kept them separate. So you do have to run those two commands, but it's the whole configuration is provided by us.
Okay, so how's how's my file system? Okay, somebody is asking what operating system. I think this is the latest version of Mac OS. Is that right?
Yeah, it's Mac OS.
Yeah. This is an open call for all developers. Me, like, this is a personal opinion, but I'm so bullish on Mac for development. Like, I know you love Linux so much, but I think Mac OS is way more productive. I don't know. Like, just you just open the laptop and everything is working. Um, and
Yeah.
kudos on you, Dai, for work for having like this environment. So yeah, I was asking, how does my file system looks after running these two? Like, which folders, which files are being generated by the command?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Um, so I'll zoom in so it's easier to see. Um, is this readable enough? The thing on the left?
A little bit bigger might do the
Uh,
work.
okay, let's see. Now, this should be fine. Mm-hmm. Is it okay?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Um, so more or less, it only generates three folders for you. Um, this is just a public folder with like an icon. It's for your front end, but mainly it's this. It's the src folder is the code for your front end. It's the Next.js application, and Sway programs is, like I said before, it's the fork workspace that contains your contracts, your predicates, your scripts, anything you want. You start with these three, but you can always add more by adding a new value to this field and creating a new project, a new folder inside of that. So it's fully flexible. And apart from that, we have a few configuration things like ESLint and sorry, um, I got this call from Denver. I still haven't gotten past it. Um,
Many
and
people
yeah,
came home with the same sickness, like if they were called. Actually, something that happens in at every big conference. Like you go and you get sick somehow because it's like um,
yeah,
bacteria from all over the world in one place. So yeah, we
y-
understand that feeling.
yeah. It's getting better though, so that's good. Um, but anyways, most of these files are just configuration files that you'll find in any Next.js project, anyways, like the next config, the post CSS config. That's just Tailwind. We have Tailwind included just as a good default, but you can remove it if you prefer to use something else. But apart from that, it's mainly this file. It's this fuels.config.ts file that's doing all the work. It's doing all the hard lifting. Um, it actually even stores all the information for the node locally in this .fuels file. It's got all of these files, but the only readable file is this chain config file. So it's using this config to run the node. Uh, and you can even define your own chain config in this file. I'm kind of digressing from the topic, but just to show you, uh, you can pass in like a whole custom config and run your own node the way you want. So if I had to focus on something, it would be this file and these two folders. They do all the work.
Okay, I have big news because we achieved 3,000 views right now. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We are showcasing NPM Create Fuels, which is an amazing tool that basically lets you to have a full stack scaffold of a Fuels project. So this is involving local running fuel node, series of fuel or Sway artifacts, which are contract, script and predicate, and a working front end application. So basically, this tool is launching a local node, Sway artifacts, listening for changes on these Sway artifacts, and generating TypeScript type definitions on the run. So basically, anytime you update something in your contract, you are getting new type definitions. Um, will this work on Linux or Windows command line? Um, Fuel by default has support for Unix based system. This is Linux and Mac. And for Windows users, you can actually use something called WSL, which is Windows Subsystem for Linux. So basically, it's like some kind of virtualized Linux inside Windows that lets you do almost anything you will do with a regular Ubuntu distribution. Um, is a headless system. So basically, you're having no um, Windows Manager for Ubuntu. It's just a terminal instance. So, Marty, yeah, it will work with Windows if you're using WSL, and will work with a Linux out of the box. Important, we don't have like vanilla Windows support. So if you are going to use Windows, you have to use WSL, which is this tool. But is not recommended. Like the recommendation is to work on Unix based systems, just as Linux or Mac. So yeah, coming back to you, Dai.
Okay. Um, so yeah, that's basically the project structure that you'll get when you run. Again, you can run this locally on your machine. npm create fuels or npm create fuels. It's gonna ask you for a project name. It's gonna ask you if you want a contract, a predicate, a script, all three, two of those, anything you want, and it's gonna create this project for you. Now, let's see what we can do with this. Let's have a
Okay,
look
but
at the.
before moving forward, I have one question. Can we go
Mhm.
back to VS Code?
Mhm.
So you were telling me that fuels.config.ts is like the file where we can like just start tweaking stuff, and you told me that
Mhm.
here we can actually write our own chain config definition, right? And
Mhm.
this chain config definition is basically the initial configuration for our local blockchain, like our
Hmm.
running local node. Um, where can I have more information on these? Like, is there maybe if I go to some place, some reference, I can like learn which are the params or which properties can I use for this chain config definition?
Sure. Let me actually try something. Okay. So for this field, you just pass in a path to a chain config.json file, like a Copilot is suggesting right now. But I do have a link for you that will show you the general structure uh, of the chain config file. We have an example that you can use. It's if you go to the ESSDK repo and go to this fuel core slash config slash chain config.json file, uh, you can basically see all the different fields that you can pass in. But here you just pass a path. So if I had a chain config file here, I would just say something like this.
So I can just work with the like this project has like a secret built-in chain config, but if I want to
Yeah.
change that by any reason, I can just download the template definition stored in this link I'm showing on the screen and just start tweaking in and import it here and everything will work right away.
Yeah, you can change any of these values according to your liking. In fact, I think the project uses this exact file that we are looking at right now, so you can change it to your liking. Uh, this is probably something that we are looking to improve in the future as well, like letting people modify it more easily. So if you just want to change one field, you don't have to specify a whole new file. But yeah, that's it for now.
Okay, so let's move forward. Like, can we just now see like the front end application, like how's everything working together, how's contract
Mhm.
writing and reading working behind the scenes?
Absolutely. Um, oh, I'm really struggling. So this is the contract that we have. It's a very counter program. It's basically this way. Hello world. You have a counter in storage, and we increment it by one when we call the increment counter function. And we have this on the front end. If you click, oopsie, mm, yeah. If you click this, it adds one to the counter. Now, let's say we wanted to add. Okay, before adding something new, let's first have a look at what's actually happening. I'll show you the node on the left, maybe, and the front end on the right. So you can act maybe see when I perform a transaction. So I don't think you can make out a lot, but you can probably see that things are moving. There's
Yeah,
transactions going through. Okay. So, and I'll also show you the front end code very briefly, so you know what's actually calling the contract and how it's going to that node, right? Um, so I don't know. A lot of people don't like React, but that's the default that we have right now. We are planning on adding support for more frameworks in the future. So yeah, if you don't like React, you're not gonna like how this code is looking. But I'm just
I
gonna
know
let's
there
just
are React haters for sure, but Stack Overflow polls tells that this is like the most used framework in the world. So
it is.
we have to choose
Everyone hates
something.
it.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that we understand that some of you maybe not like React, but like this is the default choice because it's like the most widely used. So yeah,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah. Everyone has kind of a love-hate relationship with it, but
Yeah.
well, it's the best we have. This is the code that uh, initializes your contract object. Let's say if you come from an Ethereum background, you might be familiar with uh, like type gen from uh, VM, or if you use Ethers, you might be familiar with initializing contract objects using the ABI and the contract address, etc. This is basically the same. We are importing this from the typegen artifacts. We are connecting to it using the contract ID. Now, we are importing this contract ID from this file called contractids.json. This is also provided to you by uh, the fuels create fuels CLI, so you don't have to like keep track of where your contracts are being deployed to. You can just follow this pattern. Anyways, uh, I'm just initializing the contract here. Oh man, I'm just gonna drink some water to calm this down.
Yeah, it seems like you're having a hard time there, but yeah, it seems like a plain regular React file where you have like your use effect, just checking for changes in your contract API. As we told you before, this tool is basically listening to your contracts files for new changes in order to generate new type definitions. So in order to pull those type of definitions back into the front end application, we need to like constantly create new contract instances within the application. Is that right?
Um, yeah, kind of. That's what's happening. Um, Basically, you can import this ABI factory from the typegen that we create for you. You can actually see it up here. We are importing it from Sway API. Sway API is nothing but this folder that contains your contract IDs, uh, the bytecode for your contracts, all see all of this zero one, all of this. It's the bytecode for your contract. This factory has your ABI and all the types. So we import this. You also get the contract ID from that, and you use it to create a new contract instance. And when I click increment, it's calling this function basically. Uh, these are just some error checks that check if the contract has been initialized or if the wallet's balance is zero. Um, but you don't need that. Actually, we just kind of have them in place just in case. But the core logic is here. This is this is the line that actually does the contract call. It uses the contract increment function it finds the increment counter function, it passes in 1 because we want to increment it by 1, and it calls it. It's as simple as that. um, we'll try to add a decrement counter function, so uh, we can actually see what it looks like to add maybe a new feature to this full stack app that we have. A very simple full stack app, but it is still full stack. We have contract for it and a UI for it. So yeah, Sanduski, if you don't have anything else, we'll jump to that.
Um, well, I would love to see the predicate example and the script example, because it seems in your front end application you can access
Mhm.
actually these examples as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All of these things have been added very recently. So you're looking at very, pretty much the alpha channel of our code. Um, so the predicate example is a fairly simple one as well. I'll show you what the predicate looks like. It's a very insecure password predicate. Uh, if you don't know a lot about predicates, you should actually check out the stream that we did with David about predicates, and predicates are awesome. So definitely learn more about them. But basically, anything that a predicate holds, any assets that it holds, I can unlock them and have access to those funds if I pass in the correct password in this case. So the demo that we have, it lets me pass in some funds to the predicate like that. Now it has 2000 uh, coins, whatever you want to call them. Now, if I pass in a wrong password, it's not going to let me unlock the predicate and have access to those funds. But if I pass in the correct password, I can actually unlock the predicate, and ideally, when I click that button, it should transfer back 1,000 coins to my wallet, and it does. So basically, that's the idea. And if you want to look at the front end code for it, it's fairly simple as well. Um, let's see where we are initializing the predicate. So just like the contract, we use the predicate factory to um, initialize the predicate instance, right? And then we um, call the, where is it? Is it okay? We call the transfer function. By the way, we just reinitialize the predicate here, so it has a different name, but it's the same thing. It's again using the factory. Um, we just call the transfer function on the predicate. You can pass in the pin here when you create the instance. There is a change coming to the TS SDK, which is going to make this a bit easier. So it's not, right now it feels a bit disjointed because we have to pass the pin when we initialize it and then call the transfer without, the transfer doesn't have anything to do with the pin. So there's a change coming, but for now this is the way. um, we call the transfer function on the predicate. We specify the address for our burner wallet. The burner wallet is just the wallet that we have for this template. It's baked into your browser, so if I reload it, it's still gonna be there, but it doesn't actually like, you can actually see its private key somewhere here. Uh, yeah, so you can use that private key to get that wallet again the next time, but I mean, I wouldn't suggest doing so because it doesn't have any funds on it right now. a real network. Right now, it's just a local network, but I just wanted to get the point across that it's fully local. It's there in your browser. And going back to the predicate, this is the code that tries to unlock the predicate. There's no guarantee that it's gonna work. As we saw, can fail. It can fail if the input is wrong. But yeah, that's the predicate. You have any questions
So
about the predicate?
so far so good. I don't have any questions, but it seems like so impressive that we are allowed with just one command. Like, because remember, guys, like we are just running these like npm create fuels, and we are getting a complete E2E full stack application just to test any kind of fuel artifact we are trying to play with. Like, we just seen now I have now I'm coughing. You see, you send me your sickness uh, through the internet. But yeah, as you have seen, we are able just to play around with contracts. We are able just to play around with predicates. So sometimes it's so hard for us to understand how a predicate works because we can't play around with it easily. But here you have an amazing tool that you can just launch and start tweaking and start breaking and start seeing how everything it's wired together. And I think this is an amazing tool for hackathons, for instance, where you just want to start running some kind of fuel environment just to see if your idea works, just to get into a quick proof of concept. So that's why I'm so bullish on this application, this tool, this way of generating a full stack project scaffold with npm create fuels. um I think we did like some kind of overview on what's happening here. We don't I think we don't have time to like go behind the scenes and actually understand how this works behind the scenes. um you might know, guys, in the chat, but um this tool doesn't require you to install the whole fuel tool chain in order to work. Like, this is actually virtualizing the fuel tool chain binaries, like the fuel indexer, the fuel orchestrator, the Sway compiler, and so on and so on. Um, you guys let us know if you might like to see a second episode of this tool npm create fuels, because there's a lot of things to talk about this, and maybe we might even have a second chapter of this. I would love to have such a show, just having an even closer look to this tool and how it works behind the scenes. Uh, so now I can see you are just jumping it's straight into the Sway contract. I think it takes a lot of guts just to jump and start live coding, because most of the time it doesn't work. But yeah, right now that is showing us how easily with this tool and Copilot you can just add a new function, go to your front end, and yeah, it's like 30 seconds. It's so amazing. Like, in 30 seconds you wrote another function to your contract and added that into the front end. um
Yeah,
I don't know. This hypes me so hard. And this is the kind of developer experience you're looking for in Web3, like Next.js vibes. Just plug and play and start writing stuff and start testing stuff, and everything is working in parallel. Good news. We are reaching new all-time hikes for this show, today's show, which is 3.8 thousand viewers. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us and following up this tool, which is, as I told you many times now, something that gets me so hyped all the time, because as you might see, it's wonderful. It's like you abstract every kind of environment, settings and stuff, and just go straight to the building, which is what we love. Dai, This is the current state of this tool, Create Fuels. What's coming next? Give me some alpha, please.
Oh, there's so many things that we have planned for this tool, and I can actually show you a PR right now that's open and in review. Uh, that we'll now let people, for example, connect their wallets. If you can see in this demo briefly. So right now, because the tool is so new, it only has a burner wallet. You can't actually connect your fuel wallet, but we are adding support for that. But even apart from that, there's so many more exciting things coming. I think we might even add uh, an auto generating UI. So you might not even have to go to your front end and add like a new function and a new button. We might add some sort of a UI. If I don't know if you are people are familiar with Scaffold, but Scaffold has this auto generating UI that changes according to your contract's code. So we might be adding that sometime soon in the future. We also want to improve the predicate example that we have, so it's more clear the potential of predicates and how exactly do they work, so we can visualize them more easily. Um, and yeah, we also want to make it easier for people to publish these projects to Vercel in the future. So you can maybe at a hackathon when you're building on Fuel, you can easily deploy it for others to see live on a URL that's shareable and anyone can use it, uh, hopefully with a simple command. So that's those three things are the closest to us on the horizon in terms of new features. But um, yeah, there's so many more cool things we can do. For example, the script example that we have right now, it's a very simple one, but scripts are extremely powerful, and it's another sweet program that type that I'm super bullish on. So I kind of want to add more templates that uh, maybe if you want to tinker with scripts specifically, maybe batch transactions and some way to visualize them, maybe using a very simple example of an order book, or like a fully uh, like a swap in one script call, something like that. There's many things we can do with this tool, but that's all I have for now. You can always keep an eye on the TSSDK repo. For example, this VR is open right now. So if you ever want to, you can in fact use this if you just do npm create fuels at the red PR dash whatever the number is. You can even try this out and give us feedback. So whenever you want alpha, just go to the TSSDK repo. We are pushing things really fast.
I loved that you just shared like this ETH scaffold website because it's a tool we love as well. Like, I think it's some kind of inspiration for this tool, and it's a way for you to see like what kind of experience we are trying to achieve with this. Um, I think it's important to note that this is an open source tool. Like basically, you can just go read the code and maybe try to push something. Like we are open to review your own pull request.
Yeah.
So if there's something you will love to see on this tool and you feel like you can build it, go ahead, like go ahead. We love to have external
Yeah.
contributions, and I don't want to spill the beans, but maybe in the future in some kind of a scenario, in some kind of mainnet launch, you might get rewarded for doing meaningful and valuable contributions to our code. So please join
Yeah.
into this.
And while we are talking about that, in fact, we love some contributions because I know for a fact that not everyone uses React and Next.js. So if you want to, if you love this tool but you don't use React or Next.js, something that you can do is just add a template for maybe Vue.js or Svelte or any framework of your choice. It can even be Vanilla.js if you are like really hardcore and don't want any frameworks. We'll love that. We'll love templates for other frameworks. We are just maintaining this one for now, and we want to get that right. But yeah, more frameworks. We'd love that.
And I have great news, which is as we are approaching to the end of our stream, we are reaching 4,000 viewers in simultaneously. So thank you so much, guys, for joining. This is NPM Create Fuels, a full stack project scaffold for Fuels dApps. This is made by Dai, and you can find Dai by his Slug on Twitter and GitHub. And yeah, I will be. It feels like this tool is moving towards some kind of remix on steroids, like a place where you can plug and play the whole developer experience and then deploy your own application. I'm so bullish to see the next implementation that will be having the external wallet to be injected into this front end application, because that basically allows you to bridge your funds from Sepolia and then go and play with any kind of application you would like to build. um this is impressive. Like, this is impressive. Congratulations. Like, really, really amazing the work you are doing with this, and hoping to see more builders to join us and start like pushing PRs to this amazing project.
Thank you so much. Shit, my voice. Thank you so much for the kind words, and I'll also take the moment to give a shout out to my teammates who worked on a lot of the underlying things for this, especially Anderson, who built the Fuel CLI that powers all of this. Yeah, it's a huge fan of their work. I'm so glad I get to work with them every single day.
Well, maybe we have Anderson in the next episode to show us
Yeah.
small caveats on the TS SDK. Um, 4,100 people is watching us right now, and I think a good moment to drop it here when we are on all-time hikes on viewers. Dai, is there anything else you would like to add before dropping this amazing show?
Um, yeah, I would just say anyone who's watching, if you are a dev and haven't tried Fuel before, this is the quickest way to do so. This is the quickest way to get involved and start playing with the tech that we have. Because I truly believe what we have is with uh, our VM and things like Predicase is super cool, and uh, it might be a bit daunting to install all of the tools that you need to get started with Fuel. So this is the quickest way to just try things out. And I would so much appreciate any feedback that you have. All of this that we showcased is very new. It's got merged like last month or something. And in fact, like you saw, some of the PRs are in review as we speak. I think one of my teammates might be writing a review comment as I'm talking right now. So that's how new all of this is. So any feedback is extremely valuable to us. Any contributions are extremely valuable to us. And we want to make this tool as good as we can for you guys, the developers. So get in touch with us on the forum, on Twitter. You have my Twitter, my GitHub, anywhere you want. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you so much for joining here, and thank you so much, Dai, for showcasing this amazing tool. Feel free to jump into Dai's GitHub and drop some stars, drop some follows. Um, I don't know. I'm thrilled. Like, I am speechless. We are having a lot of traffic right now. People joining into streaming. I'm glad to finally showcase this tool that I love so much. And as again, thank you so much, Dai. This is Developer Align, a series of live stream shows. Thank you so much, Dai, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, man. See you.
Bye bye. See you. And yeah, this is it. Like, I'm speechless. Like, amazing call today. And I, an amazing, talented engineer, a member of Developer DAO, a guy who actually knows how to build amazing code, and a guy who understands your needs and works every day to make your life easier. What can I say? Next week we'll be having hack stories. This is happening next week. Hack Stories is a place where we learn how to lose money, and how to avoid losing money due to security issues. So tune in next week, same channel as you may know. Um, and thank you so much for joining us. This was Developer Line. This was Deep Dive, a premium from Rose Seed with the best talent from Cube Labs. Um, and we just reached 4.2k viewers. So thank you so much, guys, and see you next week. Bye bye.